Hello and welcome to the Yerky Boys. May the Kandrona shine and strengthen you. My name is Will.
My name is Jonathan.
And we are the Yerky Boys.
Hey,
Yeah, I just over there.
Sorry, I just last minute put a little sock on my microphone to protect from plosives, and I think it made some mic noise. So I was laughing that I was doing it last minute.
Okay. Got a little mic sock going on there.
Yeah, it's for anyone listening, a sock is a technical industry term. That's you don't even worry about it. It's insider stuff, but
yeah. Well, the mic's insider now.
Boy, I hardly even know her. Do you think if the Animorphs came out in like the 2000s, would Marco be saying that's what she said a lot?
Oh yeah, Marco. Oh yeah, for sure. He's a that's what she said guy.
Yeah,
no question.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, here we are.
Here we are, talking about book. What number is this? 12?
12.
Yeah, book 12, The Reaction. It all blends together at this point. Before we do that, I do want to bring up a quick point from the last book.
Okay.
I double-checked, and I was correct. The name of the ball game that the Andalites play is, in fact, Drift Ball.
What?
For some reason, yes. For some reason, it did not have its own Seropedia page, but on the Andalites page, it was there. So my memory is correct. It is Drift Ball they play.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's big. That's huge.
That is big. So excited for Drift Ball to come up.
I'm glad that you were vindicated on that one.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah. Any other points of order? Any other old business?
No, that's all the old business I got.
Great. Then we can move on to new business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited. Now, why don't you introduce the book? Then we can talk about it. You know, that was my suggestion is why don't we do the podcast the way we do it every week?
I think I already introduced it, right? I said the reaction, Rachel's here. She's turned into a crocodile on the cover. All that.
Yeah, I guess that's fine. I guess that's fair. Then I guess we can talk about the cover.
Yeah,
which
sure.
Is, it's Rachel doing a weird stance with her arms up.
Right. She's got like crocodile arms in her human form, right? She's like holding them in a crocodile stance.
Right. And yeah, I guess so. And then she's slowly moving down. Her face starts to look a little bit like Mr. Ratburn from Arthur.
Yep. That's true.
And
yeah,
she gets a little scaly, and I like the third version with the crocodile with hair.
Yeah, it's quite good. Third panels are usually good. Although after last book, I'm starting to pay attention to these second panel tails.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
Really liking the second panel tails.
The little stubby tail is great. Yeah. I don't know if panel's the correct term, but it sounds very, I don't know, educated.
As long as you knew what I was saying.
Yeah, and of course it says to trust no one.
Right. ...
And then on the inside,
know how much that has to do with this.
What's the quote on the inside? I don't have those always.
It says, nothing like a crocodile's smile. And
what?
Yeah, right? Like, no crocodile tears, no in a while crocodile. Like, wow. There's like a million of these. This seems...
Yeah.
There's something about... I've heard the phrase crocodile smile before, but it's like not common.
Yeah. Lyle crocodile. Now, in the inside photo, we see presumably a crocodile in the zoo at the gardens in its habitat. Are we to presume the people in the distance are Rachel and who is that supposed to be next to her? They're like small little people in the distance.
I don't know.
Or are they just two randos at the zoo?
They must be randos because it would have to be Rachel and Cassie or like Rachel and a 10-year-old boy, but this looks like somebody who's taller than the chick.
Yeah, and
I can't even tell if it's a dude or a chick.
If the cover is canon, then I don't see gender, so I wouldn't know either way. But if we're to take the cover of this book as canon, then that crocodile would be Rachel. So then that couldn't be Rachel in the background.
That's true. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Also, I will just say the way that this habitat is depicted on the inside cover is not at all how I'm picturing how they describe it in the book. This just looks
No,
like a vat of water.
it's clearly not what it is in the book.
Yeah, so
I
that's
also,
strange.
good old Mattingly, is that his name? Does these great perspectives. You could like he's got like a just a solid horizontal line for like underwater versus the surface of the water. And like I guess the camera's supposed to be partially submerged, but like you don't it doesn't quite line up the way it would in 3 dimensions. I do actually kind of appreciate this weird perspective BS that goes on in all of them.
It is a bit weird. Also, like some of this looks photo real. Am I just easily impressed, or like I feel like the background with the trees looks like they just stuck a photo in there? No?
Those look I think those are painted, but yeah, sometimes I'm not sure on these covers.
Yeah, I guess it's
Because I
it's
mean, obviously
also
the kids are real and the animals are drawn, but I don't
right,
know.
right. So yeah, they blur the line between fiction and reality.
Yeah, yeah, and this was the '90s, so they didn't have like at least Photoshop wasn't ubiquitous. They probably had something for image manipulation, but I don't know what was available.
Yeah, and we never will. I also want to say,
No, we won't.
well, a couple things just in general before we dive
Hmm.
into it. This
Yeah,
book, according to Seropedia, this came out in October. The last book was did I forget a book? Oh yeah, I did. Never mind. Everything's right. I forgot. Yeah, I thought we skipped a month, but we didn't. Nothing's off there. Cut that part from the show. Nothing happened there. Cut that out.
okay, yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, good. Thanks. Cut that out for me. And
Yeah.
the other thing I want to comment on, I feel like so here's a little insider info for the fans.
Oh boy.
You go ahead and you lay out these episodes for us, and you divide them into scenes for us to discuss and summarize.
Basically, yeah. I'm
And
just trying to lump it. Yeah.
I feel like in a typical book, we tend to have like between like 12, maybe 15, or like maybe around 11, 12, 13 scenes. Maybe I'm wrong, but this book,
That's about right, yeah.
you've only got 9 scenes laid out.
Yeah, and that there's a couple things going on with that, and that's a lot of it is that there's a couple of scenes that are just like very short, and so I just kind of jam them all together. Or there's a bunch of scenes where, in other books, for example, if they morph into a thing and go out, it might be like, well, there's a lot of shenanigans when they're in this morph, and we need to stop and talk about all of that. But I think we are getting to the point where I'm sort of blending those chapters together because I'm just like, listen, there's nothing in here you haven't seen before, right? They turn into this animal, they're this animal, they talk about turning into the animal, they talk about the instincts, they've been this animal before, whatever. So I think that's
Mm.
part of it. I don't know. It's weird. There's also areas where it's just toward the end of this book, it gets a bit chaotic, and it's almost just like, listen, a bunch of shit happens. It's chaos. Don't worry about it. We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see as we go along.
So you think it's more a symptom of that we've been reading these books and not that this book in particular has like less content. It's just content we've seen before.
I think that could be it, and it also could have something to do with my own adaptations as to how I'm grouping things. Like I might be getting more and more comfortable with saying, we can talk about all these things simultaneously, as opposed to being like, do I need to stop here? I don't know. Let me break it apart just to make sure.
Yeah. All
So
right.
I don't know.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Let me know how you feel after all of this. If and like I said, we can. Well, I didn't say, but we can slow down if we need to.
Well, I guess my theory was, is this maybe there's just not, maybe we're reaching a point where we don't have as much to say about these books, but I don't know if that will ever happen because I always think that, and then we go 3 hours. So.
Yeah, I think we'll have plenty to say about this book probably. I'm going to rely on you a little bit more because little
Uh-oh.
spoiler for the listeners. There's a lot of pop culture stuff going on in this book, and I feel like you're going to have more to say about that than I am.
Huh.
Maybe
Well,
not. Maybe not.
we'll see. There's a couple things that I maybe I don't really know. We're gonna find out.
Okay.
All
We'll
right.
find out together. It'll be a journey.
I'm
All
ready.
right, so are we ready to start this book?
Born ready, baby.
All right. So, start off. School is out on a field trip at the gardens. Woohoo. Cassie's all nervous because her mom's going to give like a presentation on endangered animals or something. She's embarrassed because her mom's going to be embarrassing. As they're walking, she and Rachel are walking around, and they see this little boy, Tyler, who messes around and falls over the railing into the crocodile pit. So now the little boy's in there with the crocodiles. Um, Cassie runs to go get help, and Rachel decides to jump in to go save the kid because she's Rachel, right?
Xena Warrior Princess.
Xena Warrior Princess. When she gets in, there's this like huge monster crocodile right there, and it like lunges at her, and she jumps on it and acquires it so that it goes into a trance. While she's acquiring this crocodile, she feels nauseous and kind of sick in a way that she's not used to. I should also note that this is mostly happening out of sight of the viewers. Like, they saw her jump in, they saw the boy jump in, but like Kay Applegate has constructed this so that there's an angle where people can't see all this happening so they don't blow their cover, so that she could write it. But anyway, Rachel morphs the crocodile, and she has a big fight with the actual crocodile because it wants to eat the boy and blah, blah, blah. And she wins and rescues the boy, right? She's like, hey, kid, I'm a good crocodile. Get on my back. And she carries him off to safety. And then she also demorphs out of sight and gets out of there. And fortunately, so somehow all the onlookers really see is the boy falls in, Rachel falls in, and then the boy rides the crocodile out. And it's a little, I don't know how plausible it is, but it is a fun scene. And we get Rachel fighting a crocodile. And jumping on a crocodile as a human, right?
I was sort of picturing, I don't know if they really describe it this way, like an alcove or something. Maybe the crocs have like a little place they can go when if they don't want to be looked at by people, they can kind of chill out for a while.
That is basically what she was describing, yeah. But I'm not sure like how much it makes sense, like how much of this happened in there, and I don't know. Maybe it does make sense.
I think it could. Like, I think it makes it's certainly very convenient, but I don't think that it's like out of the question.
Okay.
But I'm also, thinking of zoos I've been to. I'm thinking of more modern zoos. Sometimes the zoos it'll sort of be in the round where you can walk around an entire habitat exhibit. And in that case, then I don't know. But if this is maybe more old school zoos probably weren't laid out that way always, and there was a little spot.
But the Gardens is supposed to be really like a progressive zoo, and Cassie's mom cares about animal well-being, and she's the head whatever animal person. She seems to have more clout at this zoo than I would expect the vet to have. I don't know what her exact position is. So it wouldn't surprise me if this zoo is like way more modern and cool than you would expect.
So, should we keep talking about the crocs? I have more croc stuff on this scene specifically, but I also have some nonsense that happens before the croc scene.
Oh, you can talk about whatever you want here, because one of the most referenced bits in all of Animorphs is here.
Right, yes.
I'll let you talk about it, because I know you're thinking about it.
I certainly am. I was. So, and this is a thing that I don't know if I actually remembered this from the books, but I had read it, like I'd seen it referenced enough times on the internet that I knew, like, this was in my head. I knew this was coming.
Yeah.
I was excited to see it. Yeah.
I kind of was hoping it would hit you by surprise, but
no, yeah, I did. I was aware of this thing. But I do love it. I'll fill in all the listeners.
Yeah, share for the listeners.
They're sitting there like, come on, please tell us what it is.
They are.
Well,
I can't wait.
I won't leave you in suspense any longer. You see, Cassie is talking to Rachel about how she tricked her mom into buying her a 9 Inch Nails CD, which, by the way, Seropedia points out there shouldn't have been a new 9 Inch Nails CD released in this time, so that's a goof.
Thank you, internet detectives.
But since, of course, no mother would buy a Nine Inch Nails CD for their
Yeah.
innocent child, she tells her that NIN stands for nice is neat. Now, here's my question. Does this
Uh-huh.
ever come up again, or is this only a thing because of this one
This
paragraph?
is only a thing because of this one paragraph.
I really I had assumed in my head that this was a recurring bit in like many books.
No, no, people just it's just extraordinarily memorable.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it is. And also even better, we find out that was Marco's idea. He came
Yeah,
up with
yeah.
that.
I never remember. I've read this book a bunch of times and I never remember it was Marco's idea. I was thinking going into this when she started talking, I was like, this does feel like more of a Marco idea than a Cassie one. Turns out that's what was up.
Classic Marco. He's a genius.
Yeah. Now she brings that up also in a great passage where she's saying, oh, my mom is going to be giving the presentation. She's going to embarrass me because she's going to try to be cool. She's got to be a cool mom, and so she's going to try to reference some musical group like the Fudgies, Snoop Diggity Dog, Boys 11 Men, or Nice as Neat.
Yeah.
It's quite a good passage.
So some of these are pretty self-explanatory. I actually like Boys 11 Men. That's
I
funny.
like Boys 11 Men a lot.
But is the band the Fugees? Is that the
Yeah.
real? I don't.
Yeah.
What's their hit song? I don't know if I know them.
Didn't they do Killing Me Softly?
Sure.
Didn't they? And they did some other stuff too.
All right, I believe you. Yeah, that was the one that I wasn't as familiar with, but it was good references nonetheless. Yes, you're right. I looked it up. That's what they did.
Okay. Yeah, but they did a bunch of other
Lauryn Hill
90s hip hop stuff. Mm-hmm.
I know Lauryn Hill. All right.
Yeah.
Me and her go way back. So that's a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun. I also, is it just me? Is it just sinking in for me now, or was this book the most front-loaded yet with exposition?
I'm not sure. My brain just kind of glazes past it. Like at this point, I am only reading it to scan for references to note at the bottom. I've read too many of these to parse it.
I feel like usually they're better at they mix that in a little bit with what's happening. This felt like there was a straight 10 pages of just telling you what this series was before anything happened. Like
that could be.
But there was one significant thing to me in there, which was she does reference Elamists in explaining what's in the universe that we don't know about. And she specifically uses the plural form. She says there are races like the Elamists.
Yes, she does use the plural form, the Elamists.
So that was a thing we were kind of talking about. I don't know, I don't know what's canon or what, but
yeah, no. Again, I think at this point, K.A. Applegate hasn't quite decided the specifics of Elamists or the Elamist or whatever. And I certainly think the characters in the book have absolutely no idea. And they're trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because, Elamists are not relevant to this book in any way. So
yeah,
it was. I mean, it's just one line, but
I do like. She wants you to remember they exist. I guess, because it is. I guess it's a little nod to the fact that, hey, you know how I did this absolutely bonkers thing in book 7? Yeah, I'm gonna do it again. Don't worry. I didn't forget that I did that.
Yeah, because I guess if you were reading all these books at the time, you might be reading every book like, where the fuck are the Elamists?
Yeah, isn't this super important? Where is he? What the fuck? No more Elamists? And then, because you could have the same question about the Chi. Doesn't it seem like they should be arrested? She didn't mention them in this book.
Honestly, I kind of forgot about the Chi. Yeah, you're right. Or the Pemalites? Which one is...
Yeah.
Oh, the Pemalites are the original race, right?
Yeah. Right.
Okay, yeah. So there's that. But
she's prompt. It's been longer since you've seen the Elamists, so
right.
you gotta...
And
that
you're
I get
also
prompted here.
thinking, assuming, especially at this point, that a lot of kids are reading these out of order.
That's
So,
probably true by this point.
yeah, you're kind of just throwing stuff and being like, yeah, just in case they, I don't know, you want to pepper
Yeah.
things in here and there because you don't know.
Yeah, yeah. That way, kids will be like, "Ooh, what was the book with the Elamists? I want to read that one."
Yeah. All right. So back to the actual crocodile scene.
Hmm.
Don't worry, we don't have as much to say about this book. It won't be a long one.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll
um,
get there. No, there's
so
fewer sections, but we have more to say about each.
so we've covered whether or not it's realistic that she had room to morph without anyone seeing. I do wonder if the zookeepers questioned when they rescued her from the habitat why she was wearing her skin tight morphing leotard and nothing else.
Yeah, people don't seem to question that enough.
It doesn't even come up whether or not where her clothes were or anything like that. That's just a little bit, don't worry about that. You just don't
Yeah,
worry about it.
yeah, no, just don't worry about it.
Now, and then I have some, some nature science questions that maybe you can answer since you're sort of an animal expert.
Oh yeah, that's me, animal expert.
I feel like my assumption, so these crocs go after her. She falls in, and these crocs see
Yeah,
her and this tasty looking kid, and they're like, num num nums, snack
yeah,
time.
yeah, 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 yeah.
My assumption would be that zoo crocs are too well fed that they wouldn't immediately go after a human that they see. They're like they would be used to zookeepers coming in and throwing them food, or are crocodiles just like so vicious that they don't give a shit and they'll eat you?
I don't. I couldn't speak to crocodiles that much, but alligators, yeah, I would be shocked if they would go after you here because, I mean, first of all, they are cold-blooded, which means they don't have to eat nearly as much as mammals. I would expect a giant reptile to be spend a lot more of its time thinking about being lazy than about eating. So it's kind of
Right.
odd how much the hunger seems to play in their mind. And like you said, these zoo ones should be well fed, so they should be extra lazy.
Yeah,
It is
yeah.
odd.
Feels like we're playing into stereotypes of crocodiles just being mean and scary. You got to have some
Yeah,
excitement.
yeah,
And
and
this,
I
yeah,
also know I wish. See, this is the sort of thing we need to bring modern animal things in because and again, I don't know about crocodiles, but alligators actually like have been shown to like play games. Like they'll like slide down things and go over and over like little waterfall things. They'll like run around and slide down them. I think they love the color pink or something. Like you can give them pink flowers and they like them. Like they're it's weird. It's one of those things where people will talk about like play behavior in animals and it'll be like, yeah, even ones you don't expect. Like look at this. What is this thing doing? You'd never think this. So I wish that came up more in these books. But
yeah. Oh, you know what? Here, hold on a second. I got someone else on the line.
oh.
Oi, crikey! It's good day, mate. It's me, Steve Irwin.
Oh my gosh, Steve Irwin.
Hey, if you got any questions about Crocs, feel free to ask me.
Oh my God, Steve Irwin! I can't believe we got you on the show. That you must be the most difficult guest to have booked like pretty much ever. We do have questions about you. How hungry are Crocs?
Oh, they're hungry little buggers. I gotta go.
Oh wow! Thank you, Steve Irwin. You really shed light on the issue.
That is so weird because I always thought he was Australian, but he does sound kind of British. I don't know what that is about.
Yeah, it is not what I expected.
But I'm glad he could. It
Yeah.
seemed relevant, so I thought I'd call him in.
He seemed even more strikingly handsome and charming in person.
Yeah, I agree with that. And this is another question that we can fight over, and it kind of gets addressed later on, so maybe we
Mhm.
we don't need to fully dive into it. But she also, when she falls in, she considers what she should morph into, and she decides that a bear and an elephant wouldn't be able to take on a crocodile, which is why she has to morph into the croc itself.
Yeah, an elephant could definitely take on a crocodile. Are you serious?
Right? Like, you can just step on it.
Like To be honest, I don't. Depends on the crocodile in terms of a grizzly bear. Like if this is a full-on Nile crocodile, and I think it might be based on how big it is. I don't know how easily a bear is getting through it if there's water around. But an elephant's just too big. Like a hippo beats a crocodile. 100% a hippo
Mm.
just beats a crocodile. This is like a thing. Hippos will just actively bully crocs. Um, so an elephant can certainly do it.
Yeah, I think the more relevant rationalizing here would be to say, well, no pun, by the way, when I said relevant. I wasn't talking about
Oh,
irrelevant.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
morphing into an elephant raises much more questions.
yeah, yeah, and much harder to hide in that alcove.
Yeah, yeah,
You
it's
might not
very,
fit.
very hard. And I also thought, I don't know, I think maybe a bear could take on a croc too, but we could, that happens later, spoilers,
Yeah,
but
I think it depends on if there's water around because
sure.
crocodiles aren't like that good at tearing you apart. Like what they do is they clamp on you and then they roll around, and as they roll, they basically just like shred your entire limb. And so they like to do that in the water so that like they've ripped your limb apart by just twisting it through a corkscrew motion and then also holding you underwater so you drown. So if they're in the croc exhibit, a croc could probably take on a bear. But if you were just on dry land, I don't know that you could because like I don't know how much damage they can do if they aren't like free floating.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Pretty
Yeah.
fair. Pretty
We're gonna
fair
be
analysis.
we're gonna switch over from an Animorphs podcast to one of those like, oh yeah, animal fight YouTube type things. Like who
Oh,
would
yeah,
win, the
yeah.
bear or the crocodile? Boom boom. Dramatic
Yeah.
music.
You want those clips, baby. I mean, those clicks. We don't. I want the clicks, not the clips, to be clear.
Right.
That's how you
Yeah,
do it.
same.
That's how you do it.
Yeah,
Do you think this
that's what you do.
crocodile got Harambe'd?
I have Harambe in my notes here.
Good.
It just says Harambe. Actually,
Okay,
it says
good.
remember Harambe.
Yeah, and I do. I did.
Yeah, yeah.
I also remembered him, so I'm glad we both remembered Harambe.
Yeah. Hard to forget.
A
It's
couple.
not that hard. I think everyone's forgot.
Well, no, not me. I think about him every damn day.
Same.
Is that why you had that song stuck in your head?
It is.
Okay. That's a little insider talk. We don't need to get into that.
Yeah,
Now,
no one's gonna get that.
now, a couple other incidental things from this scene, and then we can move on. I'll get through this quick.
Yeah, yeah.
But Rachel refers to Tobias as a nothlet, which I think is the first time we've heard that besides Axe. So I think we can assume that Axe at some point told them all now what a nothlet is. That's the word for it.
At the end of book 8, they do all sit down and Axe says, "You know what? I'm gonna tell you everything I know." So I'm gonna guess that's when he told her. But
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And they also make reference to skanky lizards.
yes, skanky lizards.
Rachel mentions Cassie giving medications to skanky lizards. I don't know what that means.
I have that coming up in the next section when they all meet up in the barn to talk about this. But yes, I don't know what skanky lizards means either here.
Yeah, you're right. I was getting a little ahead of myself. So okay, then it's
okay.
In fact, let's describe this next scene because this is where the Tobias thing comes in. Is when she's of course introducing everybody in the barn.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, we've had our intro. Now they're all in the barn to talk about the plot. Back to this. I think we might have done it. Yeah, we did it a little differently last time, right? But this time we're back to this. They're in the barn. Rachel is like all over the news because this crock pit thing happened, except that they're all saying that she's a dumb girl who also fell in. They're not saying she's a hero who jumped in to save the kid. So, haha, Rachel. But also, they have found out that the sharing is going to get a new spokesperson. Jeremy Jason McCall, the star of Powerhouse. And Jeremy Jason McCall is, like the number one dreamy boy for like all the teenage fangirls. So this is like a big deal because, oh my God, Jeremy Jason McCall says you got to go join the sharing. And all the boys are kind of like, oh, he's such a wuss, but Cassie and Rachel are all into him. Whatever. After the barn, we also have like a little scene in Rachel's house so we can see, Rachel's watching TV with her sister Jordan, and of course, this way we get to see Jordan's also like, a club with Jeremy Jason McCall. Tell me what club it is, when Rachel's probing her, whatever, and
Yeah.
and Rachel looks up some info on Jeremy Jason McCall online and sees that he's going to be coming into town in 2 days to be on the Barry and Cindy Sue show. So, here's our little book arcing plot, right? Jeremy Jason McCall is going to be telling people to join the sharing, and he's going to be in town, and they have to stop this, or else all the teenage girls are going to get infested by Yerks.
The sharing, of course, is the secret Yerk front for kids.
Right. This is why.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we need our own exposition.
Yeah.
Like just 15 minutes at the beginning of the podcast to define all the terms.
I mean, I have to assume people aren't listening to these out of order, but sometimes you like a little reminder.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The sharing. Yeah, that's the Yerk Boy Scouts, where they pretend to be a organization for getting together and doing community work and whatever, but actually they're infesting high-level members with Yerks.
Right. Well, everybody
Yeah,
knows
yeah,
that, so you're wasting time talking about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Jeremy Jason McCall for a minute. So this is okay. My best guess is that this is sort of an analog for Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Yes, that I figured that was true. The wiki just straight up says it is true. I don't know if they have that explicitly confirmed from somewhere, but yes, like that's true. It's Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Okay, it's funny because I didn't think, it was only just now as we're recording that I was trying to think who that might be. It didn't occur to me. And so then, is Powerhouse Home Improvement?
I mean, yeah, Powerhouse must be Home Improvement. They suggest on Seropedia that it might be a play on Full House as just mashing together two properties. But I Googled it, and Powerhouse was the name of an actual TV series, if you want to hear about this, it's going to be our next podcast, by the way. We're going to talk about Powerhouse after this.
Okay, yeah, I'm on board. Let's hear it.
Okay. It was an American television series. This is Wikipedia. Produced by the Educational Film Center, which aired on PBS for 16 episodes in 1982. Set in Washington, D.C., Powerhouse is focused on the adventures of a racially and ethnically diverse group of 5 teenagers and 1 adult from the inner city, based at a former boxing and sports gym headquarters turned into a youth community center. The basic message of the series is that every person is a source of creativity and power, expressed in the lyrics of the show's theme song, "We all have a powerhouse deep down inside." We're gonna watch this PBS show that's basically just a live action. What I don't know. This is like a Captain Planet Sesame Street.
Weird.
Public service announcement. I don't know what this is, but it sounds great.
That is very strange. This was 1982 or something, you said?
1982. Apparently it reran on Nickelodeon like in the mid to late 80s.
Huh. All right. Well, okay, we'll watch Power. I have to say, I don't know where I got this from, but in my head when I was reading this, I just made an assumption that Powerhouse was like, in my head, I thought it was like an American Idol or something, and that Jeremy Jason McCall was like a heartthrob, like a boy band guy. I don't.
No, he's like a teen actor guy.
Yeah, I think I was just tired, and I just was like, "What's Powerhouse?" And I just made this up because they never say what it is. They just say he's on that show Powerhouse. Like they don't say the sitcom.
That's true.
It's weird. I didn't know what to think, but now it's cleared up.
Yeah. I don't know if like teen idol culture is the same now as it was then. Like it might be a lot more like boy groups or whatever, but I do like obviously I, was never looking at all the cute boys in the magazines. But, back in the 90s, I do think there was more of just like this actor was on this TV show and he's also a teenager, so here's your all the magazines they reference in the book, YM and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how much that happens anymore because TV doesn't exist. Everybody's probably obsessing over TikTokers now.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And you just have the internet. So,
Yeah.
you
You just
also
go
did,
on the stinking internet.
and like, yeah, I guess reality shows and like American Idol wasn't a thing yet back then either.
No.
So I don't know what I was thinking, but yeah, Jonathan Taylor Thomas seems like the thing. That was definitely that
Yeah.
was the thing. It was him and uh Lance Bass, the
Right.
heartthrobs.
Right. And
And
I was only vaguely aware of that as a kid, so I was always like, yeah, this is one of the like this is a real when I was young, I was like, this is a real guy, but I'm not sure who like is that like what's up? And eventually I figured out what was up.
well, it could have been more obvious if the last name was also a name, right? Like a first name,
That's
I
true.
mean.
That's
Yeah,
true, yeah.
that's what I think threw me off the scent. It's not if it was Jeremy, Jason, Frank. Like that's all the
Jeremy,
best.
maybe could just
Yeah.
be Jeremy Jason Cole, maybe.
Ooh, yeah, that would be good. That would be good.
Same basically same thing.
And now speaking of Jeremy Jason McCall, who maybe we'll just refer to him as Jeremy Jason from now on.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll see how we feel.
JJM.
I think that leads us to another important point that must be made about this book, which is that this book is very horny.
That's true. That's true.
There is so much Rachel and Cassie being horned up for this guy.
Uh-huh.
I was a little uncomfortable with it.
Mm. Mm. You just don't like when women assert their sexuality? Is that what's going on here?
I do not like that. I think that they should be covered at all times,
Uh-huh.
and they should not be thinking about men until they are 43.
Right. Not my daughter.
And even then, I don't know. Yeah. Certainly not this Jeremy Jason McCall
Yeah.
motherfucker.
There's a lot of back and forth between the two of them that's just like, mm-hmm.
Yeah, which
Mm.
I mean, this is, let me put on my MRA hat for a second, but I do feel like this would play out a little bit differently if it was Jake and Marco being like, oh man, Suzanne McKinley's coming to town. Maybe she's going to be in her bikini. But you know what? They kind of
Marco does this all the time, right? He's all like, there's Baywatch. I'm looking at the Baywatch girls.
Yeah, you're right.
To be fair, they don't do all the mmming, but like,
yeah, no, they do kind of do that. It's not. I would say it's somewhat even. It just feels a little more, a little more aggressive in this book with the.
That's true. It is very aggressive. I mean, they do a little bit. Like they actively bring up Baywatch. I think Tobias says like, wait a second. So you're telling me that this dude's like Yasmin Bleeth, but for girls?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I had that. I wasn't sure who Yasmin Bleeth was. Is that a Baywatch actress?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's a Baywatch actress, right? Think so.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know who she is outside of. I'm associated with Baywatch, but
yeah. And then okay, now we're talking about horniness, but here's the weird thing about this book. And I said the same thing about the last Rachel book, I think. And I'm going to say it again here. If I were to just read this book and I had to guess who in this group does Rachel have a crush on, my best guess would be Jake. Because she spends more time. There's literally a line which just says, I would probably think Jake was good looking, except that he's my cousin.
Yeah, right?
No time is paid between her and Tobias, like hardly at all. There's no hints that I really picked up on at all that there's stuff between them, which I felt like there has been a little in the past, and it feels like they have completely backed off that for now.
It's so odd because it feels like they are still doing that regularly, but just not in Rachel and Tobias books. Right? or like, I guess in the Tobias book they did it, but like in all the other books they were like, oh, Tobias is visiting Rachel. Oh, Tobias and Rachel look. But then in this book, there's like one moment where he like private thought speaks to her to help her out or something, and it's just not like, it was weird. I did take note of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
She needs to up her game with this bird lust.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe Rachel doesn't want to fuck this bird. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's not acceptable to me. Rachel needs to want to fuck this bird. It's a core component of Animorphs.
Absolutely agreed. Jeremy Jason McCall, by the way, has like 20 websites just about him. That's how you
Yeah.
know he's a big deal.
Like 20. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's a whole. They have a whole description of Rachel going online and looking for him that I have like marked off here.
Great.
It's like extremely good. She
Okay.
had to wait through several busy signals to reach his own actual homepage, and then her screen filled with a picture of the actor. She scrolled down and found a button for his biography. It was 2 pages long. She printed it out. When she clicked on his schedule of appearances, it was slightly out of date. Just a hint of what the internet was like back in 90, what was this, 7?
Yeah, 97. Wow. Crazy. I did like that she also has to write a paper on her computer, and she didn't write enough, so she just makes the font bigger and the margins small or bigger to make it stretch out.
Yeah, classic.
You could probably get away with that. Yeah, in 97 you could get away with it.
Yeah, people did that all the time back then. But nowadays you would just submit it electronically, probably.
Yeah.
They do also, circling back to who has a crush on who, there is also, again, like there's the hints between Rachel and Marco too. Once again, like there's the whole thing where we have Jordan, Rachel's sister, bring up, oh, what about that cute guy you hang out with, Marco? And Rachel's like, oh, well, Marco's not that cute.
Yeah,
I don't know, and it just feels kind of
yeah. There's more going on there. Marco's cute as hell, by the way. We all know.
Oh yeah, of course, we all know.
What are you trying to
those
kill?
Eyelashes?
Oh my god, those eyelashes. What I wouldn't give to be a 13-year-old girl with Marco for a day. Is that weird to say? Is that not okay to say?
Nope, that's totally normal.
That's fine.
Maybe in Obama's America, you wouldn't have gotten away with it, but
yeah, I'm glad we're not in Obama's America anymore.
Sorry, who's the president right now?
I want to say Trump, but I don't know.
Okay.
I don't keep up with current events.
I would like to say that as well. Oh my god. All right, are we
40
ready
minutes
to talk
in.
about?
I'm ready.
Yeah, to talk about the actual gimmick of this book, because once again, the actual gimmick is not the plot. We're not worried about the plot. We're worried about the gimmick. So Rachel's looking at this webpage and learning about his appearance, and she starts feeling like short of breath and really weird, and she starts unintentionally morphing into the crocodile without meaning to. She just starts morphing crocodile. And then also without controlling it, once she goes straight from the crocodile into a fly, and then she goes straight from a fly into an elephant, which longtime listeners will know it's not possible to morph from one form to another without going human first. So what the hell is happening? She's going crazy. And as an elephant, she's too big. And so she falls through the floor into her kitchen. And, nobody is hurt, including her, but the house is destroyed. And, so there's like camera crews and firefighters and all sorts of shit just kind of like showing up at the house. And they all realize she's the croc girl. So they're all like asking her all these questions. She's all over the news. And her dad has flown in. Like a whole bunch of stuff happens all at once. Her dad has flown in because he heard about the croc thing this morning, and he's like, "Oh my god, the house also collapsed." So she's gonna go stay with him, but she realizes, because her dad is a news guy, works in showbiz. She's like, "Hey, could you get me on that Barry and Cindy Sue show, since all these guys want interviews with me? On account of there's that super cute actor guy, right?" So she's kind of working an angle here on getting in and dealing with this Yerk situation, and also meeting this cute guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, crazy stuff, right?
Yeah.
Crazy morphing, house collapsing. Yeah.
This is we've never seen this happen before. No one's ever morphed without meaning to.
No, never happened.
And, as if morphing wasn't horrifying enough normally, we now have some real David Cronenberg crocodile fly hybrid shit happening. That's real fucked up.
Yeah, like the abdomen pinching off the croc's tail or whatever the hell it was.
And I think it's gonna get worse too. That's not
Hmm.
the weirdest shit in this book.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
I,
no, there's a lot of that.
yeah, and then she turns into an elephant in her house. Could
I do.
have murdered her family in the
Yeah,
process.
like there's the whole thing where she's just like, "Oh shit, did I crush my sisters? Are they dead?"
Right.
um, and the firefighters are coming in, and she's totally unhurt because she morphed back from an elephant. But so now everybody's like, "How the hell did you not die in the middle of that collapse?"
Yeah, she kind of gets Donnie Darko'd.
That's true.
Kind of.
When did Donnie Darko come out?
I think that was. Ooh, I wanted to say it's like 2000, but I think it was
Okay.
later. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so they ripped this book off by a pretty wide
they
margin then.
did. Yeah, I think Richard Kelly owes K. Applegate some royalties.
I think that's right.
How do you know if that Rachel's been in the refrigerator? You check. You
How do
check.
you know?
You check
Is
for
it
the
is it
elephant prints in the butter.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
is that
Yeah.
what you're gonna say?
No, I was gonna wait for you to say it.
Oh yeah, right. Well, that's what I said.
Okay.
Sort of a funny joke.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah. So I mean, this
Just a little joke.
this was an exciting scene of being like I didn't know what was going on. I was confused and surprised. It
Yeah.
also this indicates we know that it is apparently technically possible to morph directly from one animal to another. It's just there's something about the tech that doesn't allow it. The morphing tech normally doesn't let you, but theoretically you can.
Yeah,
Like,
it must be physically possible.
yeah, so what is the limiting factor is the question. Is it something they programmed in or what like that I don't that doesn't really make
Yeah, or
even
like they
later.
don't understand how to do it maybe. Like it can
Hmm.
happen randomly, but the Andalites don't know what triggers it or something, so they can't recreate it.
Yeah, maybe.
I have no clue. Yeah, it could also, I mean, it could easily be an intentional limitation for some reason or other. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Weird. It does not become clearer later on.
No, it does not. And that aspect of this kind of thing is never really like nobody ever can morph between things other than, this allergy thing.
Right.
So I don't know.
Well, hey, you're giving it away.
Oh, oops. Cut that part.
Okay, we'll cut that. I'll cut it for you.
Okay, thank you.
If you cut
Yeah,
the other
forget I
part,
said.
I'll cut
Yeah.
that part.
Okay, sorry. I'm was only half paying attention to what I was saying, and
I mean, I
I
will
forgot we
say
didn't reveal it yet.
I didn't figure it out here, but
Hmm.
there was a point where I figured it out, mostly because the title of the book is The Reaction.
They're having relevant titles, which is great.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, The Reaction could have been one of the vaguest yet, but in this context, it is relevant.
Yeah.
Uh,
No,
did we
it worked out.
did we get to Rachel's hotel yet?
We could. Rachel's hotel can go here or later, whatever. If you want to
Yeah.
talk about it, Rachel is in a hotel after her house collapses, and like Cassie shows up as a bird, so they can talk about what's up, and they're gonna ask Axe about like what the hell just happened to Rachel, right? And Rachel doesn't want to tell Jake because Jake's gonna make her stay home and not do this mission. Um,
Right.
she's being a little Rachel-y here.
Yeah, she's pretty Rachel. She kind of can't help being pretty Rachel-y at all times.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really have any much to say. I just kind of wanted to talk about her room service order.
Oh, yes, I have it here explicitly because it's a very good order and I relate to it a lot.
Yeah, go on then.
She says, I'd like a salad with poppy seed dressing, and I'd like a cheeseburger and fries and a cherry pie a la mode, and cancel the salad. And do you make milkshakes? Chocolate milkshakes?
Heyo.
Ah! Ah! Quite good.
Classic. Classic. Man, I want cheeseburger and fries and cherry pie.
I know, just reading that. Oh my god.
Damn.
Gimme.
Yeah. What a good.
Shake?
That's like Redwall. You know Redwall?
The book series?
Yeah, with the little mice.
I know that series. I never read it, so I don't know what you're.
Oh, well, they had all these. They would have, I think, like 40% or so of every book was just them having a feast in their little mouse kingdom, like castle. And it would just be pages and pages of descriptions of like, and the roast chestnut pudding and
My God.
like all those kind of shit.
Mm.
That's the only thing I remember from any of those books.
That's pretty good because as a guy who was aware of them but had never read them, that is the last thing I was expecting you to reference with food. The mice book? What the hell?
Yeah, it just came to me right. I was just like, yeah, reading that makes you hungry, and that was the connection.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
While we're on funny things that happen, I'll backtrack a little bit here. We have Rachel's mom, the lawyer, is getting all excited about all the people she can sue over the house collapsing.
Oh yeah, fucking
I enjoyed
lawyers.
that detail.
Yeah, a lot of there, it's a thing in these books. If a character has a trait, they're
Mhm.
gonna have that trait.
Yeah.
Or like
Yeah.
just like Rachel's dad knows how to get you on TV or whatever.
Mhm.
They're willing to use their things. By the way, I should point out that later on in the book, it turns out she does get that salad. They didn't cancel it.
Oh yeah, she has to get it for Cassie because Cassie showed up.
Oh, right.
So
That's
she
what it
calls
is.
back to be like, yeah, salad and oh shit,
Right.
she gets a salad for Cassie. Does that mean Cassie's vegetarian? What does she get for Cassie
Oh,
exactly?
interesting.
Mm, this is really, really important.
Oh, she said it's just room service. You like pie, right? Well, wait a minute. Oh, I see. Yes, the waiter. It was loaded with my burger and Cassie's salad, and 2 pieces of pie and my milkshake.
So maybe there is supposed to be like an implication that Cassie's vegetarian. I'm gonna keep an eye out on this Cassie vegetarian question.
I'm
I need to
trying.
know.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking through this. Oh, there it is. She calls down to room service and orders the salad again and another piece of pie. That does happen. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But
And
it's
this
just the salad and pie. She doesn't order like a burger for Cassie.
no, yeah. Cassie's maybe a veg.
Could be a vegger.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna find, I think that, and I feel like maybe it's jinxing it because we say this a lot, but I don't have as much to say about a lot of these scenes as I did about the first two.
That's fine. Well, that like I said, I think a lot of the stuff to talk about is when they're doing Jeremy, Jason McCall, and Barry and Cindy Sue, and we just have to go talk about the actual show Powerhouse or Oh,
Yeah.
did we mention how Barry and Cindy Sue is probably Regis and Kathy Lee?
No, we didn't. That
Because
was
that one I did get as a kid, like immediately.
that was my assumption, although I did not. It took me until like late in the book to be like, oh, okay, I guess that's Barry. I guess it's Regis. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been off the air now for like 15 years, right?
Right. Yeah. No, reading it at the time is going to be different.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm sorry for jumping ahead, but it was on the Seropedia, and I saw a picture of the TV show adaptation of this book,
Mhm.
and for some reason they changed their names on that, and it's just like Linda and Larry or something. So I don't know why. Maybe they were afraid Regis would sue them.
Yeah. We can look at the timeline on that too. Like, when did Kathy Lee get replaced?
Oh right, it was Regis and Kelly was the follow up.
Maybe? I don't remember.
Yeah, Kelly Ripa, wasn't it? Isn't that who it was?
That could be.
Hey, come on! I'm Regis. Okay, sorry. I didn't. It didn't work. It didn't work.
I'm proud of you for trying. Oh, let's move on from Regis and Kathy Lee. When Rachel is talking to Cassie about this, she mentions, is this a typo? She mentions that when she stares at computer screens, she gets logy.
Oh, I think I saw that too, but I just
Is
sort
that
of
supposed
glossed
to be
over it.
foggy?
Yeah, I don't know. It's Logy.
Yeah, she gets logy. She gets logy.
I googled it. It's a word.
Oh.
Logy, dull and heavy in motion or thought, sluggish.
Damn, Rachel's smarter than I am.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone say this fucking word.
I never thought that at 33 years old I would learn a new word from Animorphs of all things.
Vocab, baby. There you go.
Hell yeah.
I'm
Oh, this is good.
sometimes I'm a bit low-G myself. What can I say?
Yeah. I'm going to start using that all the time now.
Yeah.
I always logi the morning before we do our podcast.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, right after the hotel, the next day at school, yeah. Oh, did I mention Cassie said at the thing that Jeremy Jason's already in town and he's on some yacht and they're gonna go check him out at the yacht. That's part of why Rachel doesn't want to talk to Jake because he'll make sure that she doesn't go do that.
Right.
Anyway, whatever. Next day, yes, he'll be in a bathing suit. Mm-hmm. Next day at school, Rachel's there. All the kids are giving her shit about falling through stuff and being on the news, whatever. And she gets called to Chapman's office, and he invites her to join the sharing. And midway through the conversation with Chapman, Rachel's feet morph into bear feet. Unfortunately, she is able to play it off as though it's some weird fashion trend the kids are into. There's these big bear boots. So that's a funny scene that I always remember from Animorphs. Is the bear boot.
You always remember that one, huh?
Yeah, that one sticks in my mind. So let's breeze through that a little bit here.
Breeze.
Yeah. Let's breeze.
Breeze
in the
past
middle of this,
or breeze through it.
No, through it.
Okay.
I have things to say.
Okay, go on.
For one thing, in this scene, Chapman calls Rachel attractive and mature, which, oh boy.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Yep.
It's not really,
very
to be
attractive.
fair, he's trying to groom her, right?
He is a literal groomer.
Yeah, he's trying to stick a yerk in her instead of you don't have to go there, but
went there.
like it's just a little yikes.
For context for listeners, yeah, she asks how she looked on TV, and he says, very self-possessed, very attractive, and very mature.
If you're a 13-year-old listening to this and an adult calls you attractive and mature, if you hear the phrase you're very mature for your age, you need to get out of there. You need a different adult.
If you're a 13-year-old listening to this, you might have a case against us. We might be the adults you should be worried about.
Yeah, run away very fast.
This is
not acceptable.
This is not a safe space for you.
No, minors get out. Let's see. Chapman here, he kind of implies during this conversation that maybe Rachel jumped in the pit on purpose because she's suicidal over her dad leaving in the divorce. And they actually use the word suicidal here.
Yeah.
Something. And they kind of breeze past it in the book, but coming back to it, it's kind of fucked up, them actively targeting suicidal kids with oh, don't have a reason to live? Well, if I put a yerk in you, the yerk can solve all your problems and you don't have to think about them anymore.
Oh yeah, 100%. And that seems like definitely a thing that they would do.
100%. Yeah, they absolutely do that. It's no question.
Yeah, clearly we're seeing it's oh, you go after the troubled kids, the loners or whatever. They're more likely to join up.
Yeah,
and
Tobias would probably be targeted by now if he weren't a bird.
Deaf. And I did think it was a little. It felt like when he says, she's like, "Oh, does he think I'm suicidal?" It felt like they were treating it maybe a little more lightly than it deserves. It felt a little not like a joke, really, but almost come on, what's he think? I'm suicidal? Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it felt a little too casual about it.
I agree. It felt like it moved past very quickly. And I wonder how much of that is a cultural change. Because I think now when I see things oh, is this kid going to kill themselves? I think very seriously about it. But it feels like at the time it was more of a joke thing. But that also could have been because I'm 12 years old. So I'm a little douchebag and everything's a joke. Ha ha, they're going to kill themselves or whatever. And I haven't developed empathy yet.
I definitely think that, yeah, at the time it was I feel like kind of a similar thing with like bulimia or cutting yourself, was
Yeah.
like in the 90s it was just sort of not like a punchline, but maybe
Yeah.
it could have been like it was kind of a little joke, like, oh, those girls are starving themselves. It wasn't taken seriously like it is now, I don't think.
Yeah, I do remember like reflecting on it as I got older because it felt like the cultural background to that sort of thing was always like, oh, they're not seriously gonna hurt them. That's just a cry for help or whatever, a cry for attention. And like now that I reflect on it as an adult, it's like, dude, if someone's crying for help, then they need help, man. Like it's kind of
Yeah.
fucked up that like it's like, oh well, they're just cutting their wrists. They're not really gonna kill themselves. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And it does feel like that was a cultural background thing that maybe deserved examination.
Yeah.
I guess it got it.
Yeah, I guess it got. Well, we did it now. We really
We
did a
did it
service
now.
here today.
Yeah.
Is Melissa Chapman still?
You're welcome.
She's not a Yerk. She's not a controller. I mean,
I guess not. Chapman's not going crazy at
oh, because
PTA
that was the
meetings.
deal, right? That was the deal
Yeah.
he made, right, right, right. I was just like, why?
Yeah.
Because she's probably. I'm like, she would be a number one on my troubled kid list.
Right.
um,
Doesn't come up that she exists here. I wonder if we'll hear her mentioned again.
I hope so. I'm rooting for her. I also I was wondering at the end of this scene why Chapman didn't offer her some shoes to wear.
Yeah, because she had bare feet.
That's right.
She really did have bare feet, though. Her actual shoes ripped off.
Yeah,
They were bare feet.
that's correct.
Ah, ah, ah.
Okay.
Oh, and there's a bit of internal inconsistency here too that I want to come back to. So, in book 9, Cassie says she's facing down a D, right? Earlier in this book, Rachel describes Cassie as being very well like put together and can do all of and like can handle all of these different stresses, and says who else but Cassie could handle the Yerk invasion while maintaining a B plus average, which doesn't sync up with that. Then here in this scene, Chapman says your grades are slipping, and Rachel says, well, I still have an A average, and Chapman says, well, just barely. So clearly Rachel can do it. Like and that's in the same book, this B plus A thing.
Huh.
I'm keeping an eye on your grades, young lady.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It also is. I mean, I guess that's just Chapman trying to manipulate her, but just barely an A average. Like what?
Yeah.
That's not like what?
It's true. Like your grades are slipping. You only have a fucking 92 now instead of a 96. Shut the hell up.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter.
That's dumb as hell.
Fuck off.
Oh man. All right.
Yeah, I think I got everything out of my system about the Chapman scene.
Yeah, we breezed through it.
Yeah, very quick and breezy.
Mm-hmm. Easy.
All right, so they all morph seagulls and they fly out to Jeremy Jason's yacht. Tobias can't come along because there's no thermals and
Wah, wah.
Yeah, wah, wah, poor Tobias. There's a lot of chapters of seagull flying that I am happy to just skip over if you don't have anything to say about them being seagulls.
Yeah, I mean, I like when she says she's king of scavengers, lord of the trash.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, that's all.
Yeah. So they get to the yacht, and Rachel and Cassie are scoping it out. They overhear Jeremy Jason. He's talking, and he's making a deal to like try to get into the movies instead of just doing TV. And he's kind of a jerk, and he clearly hates his teen girl fans. And then Visser 3 shows up in his human morph, which, as we established last time, should probably be named Max Leach. And he's all like, he's very intimidating, and Jeremy Jason's scared of him, and he's like, I'll get you everything you ever wanted, but you have to join us. And Jeremy Jason's like, yeah, okay, sure, sign me up, make me a movie star, whatever. I want the power and fame, gimme. So he's kind of a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought so. This really turns off Rachel and Cassie, or at least Rachel is like, oh, I don't like him anymore. I don't feel bad for him anymore. Which I thought was maybe a little harsh. I mean, Like, I didn't think at this point he did anything or said anything that was so egregious that was like, yeah, he deserves to
Yeah,
be a
I guess.
controller. Like, he wanted fame, but isn't he also supposed to be like 16 or something? You know?
Probably, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But
like,
and I think because there's a whole thing where Rachel's like, or Cassie's like, oh, Visser 3's manipulating him, and Rachel's like, yeah, but he wouldn't be manipulatable if he wasn't a jackass. I don't. Maybe this is just Rachel being like this.
yeah, yeah. So I thought that was a little harsh. I did want to
That's fair.
emphasize something here when they talk about him being the star of Powerhouse. And
Uh huh.
I think I originally highlighted this because I wasn't sure what this meant, but now that you said Full House, I think it's painting the picture for me because she says he's the star. At least if you forgot about that comedian guy who played his father, that's
Yeah,
got to
so
be
that's
Bob
Home
Saget.
Improvement. Oh no, I
Oh,
was thinking that's Home Improvement, right?
oh, oh, you're right. Oh, well, it could be either. They're both older comedian guys. Um,
Mm.
but
Mm.
you're probably right. You're
I don't.
probably right.
You know what? It's just a hodgepodge of all the different shows that kind of work like this. Is what it is. It's
Yeah,
not quite anything real.
Full House I think was off the air by '97, and Home
Hmm.
Improvement was definitely in its prime at that time. Maybe it wasn't
Yeah.
off the air, but it was certainly like waning. So I think that they might have taken the name, but yeah, I think that's Home Improvement.
Yeah.
It's got
Yes.
House is Home, maybe. Yeah, I'm seeing it.
Yeah. See, these running times, like when they were on, and that's what I'm relying on you for. This is what I mean when I need your pop culture '90s expertise here.
I'm also thinking about Jonathan Taylor Thomas right now.
Yeah.
And uh,
Please.
by the way, Jeremy Jason McCall was born in Altoona, Pennsylvania.
Yep.
He has two sisters.
And yeah. And what's his name was also born in Pennsylvania. I think it was Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Oh, do you just know that?
Uh,
You just know that.
I know that from somewhere. I mean, you know what? I'm not even going to try to hide where we live anymore. I live near there. So
You were born in Altoona, Pennsylvania, I believe.
I was born in Altoona. That's right. No, but like I'm pretty sure that's right that he was in Bethlehem.
I
I don't
believe
know.
you.
Maybe not. I'm trying to remember, but
Well,
yeah.
it was just I'm looking at this next part, and this is once again Rachel and Cassie are getting horned up, and
Right.
they say nice chest and nice legs, which to me
Mm-hmm.
this is the horniest. Like, we're really
Oh yeah.
getting.
This part is horny as hell.
But I feel like, and I was not a 13-year-old girl at the time of Jonathan Taylor Thomas. It wasn't until
Mm-hmm.
later that I became one. But
Right.
I feel like Jonathan Taylor Thomas was like, oh, like he's so cute kind of thing. I don't think he was like going shirtless in movies, he wasn't like.
Right. Well, he is here because here he's in a bathing suit, so nobody else has
Yeah.
seen this but them. They got a sneak peek, and I don't really appreciate you trying to mansplain to Kay Applegate, who was a 13-year-old girl at the time she wrote this, what she was and wasn't allowed to be attracted to.
You're right. I take it back and I apologize.
Okay, as long as you're learning and growing.
Yeah. I guess Jeremy Jason does say he's sick of dopey girls like sending him love letters and stuff. So that's, I don't
Yeah,
know.
might have just taken it personally there.
I guess. So anyway,
Yeah, I mean, I listen. You don't want to meet your idols unless they're Taylor Swift, who is perfect and does in fact love me personally and deserves
yeah.
to be on her pedestal. But
Yeah, or Weird Al.
right, or Weird Al, who
Those are
also
the
is my best friend.
those are the two.
Yeah,
Or if
and
maybe if we're
yeah,
your idols, you could meet us, I think.
I don't want that. I don't think you want that either.
Trust me. It's good.
All right, well, they can go meet you, and I'll go hide out somewhere else.
Okay. It's the
What were
date.
we talking about?
I think we were talking about the boat and how Visser 3's on it.
Oh yeah, good old Visser 3.
So he's gonna do some stuff, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, they're gonna whatever. They're flying back. Rachel and Cassie are flying back. Oh yeah, I did have some other things to say about this scene.
Oh, good.
You know what? We're not gonna move on yet. We're gonna stay here. I
Okay,
got
good.
distracted by all the Taylor Swift talk. Um,
I get it. We're talking about
yeah,
chests and legs. Go on.
yeah, I appreciate that. Jake was trying to tell Rachel to hold back, because Rachel and Cassie were the ones who scouted the ship. Jake was trying to tell her to hold back, and she's like, "Hell no, I'm gonna go do it," and just actively disobeys that. At the same time, she's just actively lying to Jake. Rachel, in all of her books now, or at least the last two, has just been totally and completely out of control. Like, she is out of control. So Cassie needs to be harder on her and just
Yeah.
rein her in or something here.
Yeah.
Um, and I also like how early on here Tobias gets called out for not being as good at seeing as he says he is. Where he's like, "Oh yeah, there's that yacht out there. It's the Day Breeze or whatever it's called. Yeah, I see it out there." And Mark is like, "Okay, Tobias, I've been a bird. You can't actually read that." And he's like,
It's all he has. Just
all
let
he
him
has.
have it.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the two things I wanted to bring up here that I missed.
Let him brag about his eyesight, even though any of them could also
Please.
get it if they wanted to.
Yeah, he doesn't even have any thermals. He can't even fly out to the boat.
It's pretty pathetic.
Poor Tobias. Yeah, they turn back. Rachel and Cassie turn back to go meet up with the others, and Rachel starts morphing straight from seagull to elephant midair, and whoops, and falls into the water. And she's plunging underwater. She's drowning as an elephant until she morphs straight to ant and gets caught in an air bubble, so she can breathe there. And fortunately, she doesn't drown as the elephant. And Axe and Cassie are like in the waters, like shark and dolphin, trying to find her. And then we get our Visser 3 scene, right?
Pretty early.
Pretty early. Because Visser 3 saw them go in, and he turns into a Lebton javelin fish, which is a giant bright yellow stingray. It's got stalk eyes coming up from the top. It's got giant antenna trailing below it. And it's got these like spears all lined up on its back that it shoots out of its mouth. It like inflates like a balloon to load the spear from its back to its mouth somehow, and then it deflates to shoot it out, which is very cool. I love this thing. And Rachel accidentally morphs crocodile again from ant. She's still going crazy. And, everybody's there. There's a big fight. They're fighting Visser 3, and he's like kicking their asses. And Jeremy Jason's actually on board the ship, and he's like cheering Visser 3 on. He's like, "Oh, look at that Visser 3 guy. He's a giant monster, and he's killing him. Isn't that so cool?" And until Rachel, as the crocodile, is like playing dead, and when Visser 3 gets close, she bites him, and he's all inflated, and he pops, and he goes like whizzing off like a balloon, like whee, and that's how they beat him.
Yeah.
I do want to loop back on some of the things that happened here, but I'm just gonna say, like, this is like, how am I supposed to be scared of a Visser 3 that goes whizzing off like a popped balloon, like some kind of freaking Wile E. Coyote or Animaniacs or whatever cartoon? Like, this Worf rules, and I love it, and the fact that he did that kind of rules, and I love it. But like, this is not scary.
Yeah, I mean, I did think he was at least still intimidating, and it was suspenseful for me, the reveal that he was on that yacht. I thought,
Yeah.
at first I was like, oh shit, Visser 3's on there, man. But which, is a nice recovery after the skunk book, when I was like, that was for me really the low point of his comic relief stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yes, most of the time here is spent with him being intimidating and getting ready to kill them. But
yeah, it's just, he just has a silly little Team Rockets blasting off again at the end.
Yeah, that's right. That's what he has.
He also mentions that this is a morph he acquired recently, and he's excited to try it out.
Yeah, and I'm curious because Axe knows what this is and says he's always wanted to see one in an aquarium. And it makes me wonder if this is related to like the like Andalites on the Homeworld or whatever. Or not, I'm sorry, Yerk's on the Andalite homeworld or whatever that means, right? There was like a
Huh.
thing about that.
Right. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I was trying to think. We know Visser 3 goes out and acquires new morphs. Is he how does he get close to this fish? Does he just have a special stun weapon? Like he's not like getting up close
Yeah.
and personal and fighting them.
Yeah, there might be a special stun weapon. I also wouldn't be shocked to learn that he just sends in like 100 Hork-Bajir to restrain it and half of them die.
Yeah, that sounds more correct. Now,
I don't know.
when a Yerk morphs,
I think we've had this question before, and I don't think there's an answer.
Well, okay. Well, I'm gonna need to ask it again because I don't remember.
Yeah, go for it. Keep going.
Well,
it's an important question.
I don't know what the question. I don't think I've asked this question post learning about Z space.
Okay.
And mass. Because that's my question. Is the Visser 3 is in an Andalite body. The Andalite body is the one that can morph, not the Yerk. Does the Yerk's mass go into Z space, or is the Yerk now in this animal's head?
I'm pretty sure the Yerk goes into Z space because there are restrictions on what Yerks can infest, right? Like if an animal isn't like intelligent enough or has too small of a brain, the Yerks can't infest it or something.
So
I don't know.
So the Yerk sort of becomes like the leotards. It just becomes it's small enough that it can also be morphed.
Yeah, I guess. I guess that's true.
I guess it almost feels like it shouldn't work. Like that it should be expelled or the Andalite should get control or something like.
Yeah, it does almost feel like that.
But I can't quite put into words why or why not it shouldn't work. It just it just was something I started to think about too much. So
yeah. No, I mean this is a reasonable question, I think. I think this is an important question, and yeah, it doesn't really quite make sense. The Andalite's name is Alaran, by the way.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I don't remember that. This is very much like, if we need to go to a convention and ask K. Applegate, when the Yerk morphs, does the Yerk go to Z space or? And for her to just be like, get the fuck out of here. I don't know. It's for fucking children, you loser.
Yeah. I feel like we went over this. There was like somebody who asked some question and she gave like the most bullshit answer possible, like with a laughing tone, like, haha, it's a book, dumbass.
Oh, I don't remember that.
I'll have to find this. It was funny to me, but she very clearly like is not that concerned with these kinds of questions of logistics. If it makes for a fun story, then cool, I did it. And if I could make it make sense, even better.
Yeah, that's fair. More
not
power
really
to
the important part here.
I did. I think in this scene it would be sort of awkward. I was sort of glad that Justin Timberlake wasn't there. And
go on.
Just I don't know. It could be awkward since he probably wants to avoid running into spears.
I do like that a lot.
Okay,
it's very good.
Okay, you do. Okay,
quite good.
Okay, good.
I'm very happy you said that. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, okay, you're welcome. All right.
Yeah,
I'm glad we all agree it was good. One thing,
good.
I'll just say it here, but it's kind of for the book in general because we spend a lot of time in this section and later on talking about that she's turning into a crocodile and Jake calls it an alligator and she corrects him. I was shocked that at no point in this book do they ever actually lay out the difference between crocodiles and alligators.
Yeah, no, they never do in this book.
Seems like Cassie should have been right up there with that.
She should have been. I know from when I was a kid, I would have been the kid who would have told you. So I know one of the differences you can tell is whether the teeth interlock or whether the upper teeth just like overhang the lower teeth. And I don't remember which is which anymore. I think alligators interlock. But there's probably other differences too.
Yeah. Yeah. Crocodiles are more prone to singing pop songs, from my
Yeah.
understanding.
Yeah. Alligators, your thing is true too.
Thank you.
Like for example, the crocodile rock is one that you
Of
might expect a
course.
crocodile to sing. Uh,
For
but
sure.
alligators also live in North America, and crocodiles live in like Africa and
Huh.
Southeast Asia. And
Huh.
I think that's pretty like definitive borders as well. I don't think there's any crossover on habitats.
Yeah, and in Peter Pan, it's a crocodile. So
Yeah, okay.
Peter
So
Pan's
that
not
helps.
that's not in North America, so that wouldn't be an alligator.
Right. They're doing uh Captain Hook is a pirate, so he's probably on some like
Somalian.
Singapore or Shanghai tea route or something like that, trying to hit the East India Tea Company, and that's why there's crocodiles.
Yes, that is my conclusion as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
if only we had an expert who could come in and chime in on this for us, but we don't.
Right,
Uh,
yeah, no, yeah, unfortunately he died many years ago.
that is really a shame.
um
All
yeah,
right.
this section here. In this section, so when she's drowning as an elephant here, um she's a little bit delirious. And I want to make sure we bring this up because when we do our Christmas themed episode, we're going to do this song. Um, because Rachel is a little bit delirious as she's drowning and dying as an elephant before she morphs randomly. And she starts singing because everybody's like Visser 3's morphing, everybody's going into different battle morphs. And she starts singing, oh, what fun it is to morph and morph today. So, to the tune of Jingle Bells, if you couldn't tell.
Oh yeah, I do recognize that. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
fun little song.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure that we put a little pin in when we do our Christmas special episode come this Christmas, that we make sure we sing this song.
I'm gonna make that a new post-it note on my monitor.
Okay. Okay, good. Thank you.
I,
And that'll replace our normal intro.
yeah, I just crossed out important skunk and I wrote Jingle Bells Morph
Right.
song.
We don't need that skunk thing anymore.
Yeah, another thing in here that I think might be maybe to me more damning to Visser 3's intimidation factor is when he thinks that the phrase is "eeny meeny miny moo."
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It's good.
He says "eeny meeny miny moo."
It should have been a henchman line or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
Yeah. This section of the book is really, I think, where the most stuff got consolidated in terms of like, oh, they are seagulls. Oh, they fly out. Oh, there's, um, there. You see them talking on the ship. Oh, Rachel is going crazy, morphing. Oh, there's a fight scene. Like that's two sections, but it's a huge percentage of the book. But I just feel like there's other than the fact that they're doing these things, there's not that much to mention about them.
yeah. It's what happens. There tend to be the action scenes in these books when
Yeah.
it's I mean we've said plenty about it, but a lot of it is just fighting.
Yeah, and the end action scene in this book is we'll get to it, but like it's oh boy.
Yeah,
uh,
we'll get there sooner than you think.
yeah, we will get there sooner than we think.
Maybe.
Because after they get away from Visitor 3, they pop him, whatever, they get away. And very briefly, we'll just touch on, because Axe explains what is going on with Rachel, which I accidentally mentioned earlier, which is that she is allergic to the crocodile. And she's effectively been morph sneezing. She's been having involuntary reactions to having the crocodile in her. Um, so eventually, she will get over it on her own because she's going to go through what is known as a Harith Illint, which literally translates to burping DNA. And basically, what's going to happen is that she's going to like expel the crocodile from her body. So she's going to like throw up a croc. Um, and until she does that, she has to remain calm and unemotional because it's heightened emotions that cause her to morph uncontrollably. And also, Jake says, you're off the mission and they'll figure something else out. You can't be on this mission until you do your Harith Illent.
That's right.
Yeah, we get a lot of good scenes where Marco is making fun of Rachel because she first morphed when she was looking at pictures of Jeremy Jason online. And he's like, Rachel's in love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of fun.
Basically, this turns you into the Hulk, essentially.
Yeah,
I mean, with the Hulk, it's just anger, but in Rachel's case, that's pretty much what it's going to be, is anger.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Rachel says at some point a little later, she's like, I'm good at controlling my emotions. Well, except for anger.
Yeah. And it also, like, again, it sort of improves your morphing capabilities because you can do the back-to-back morph. But yeah, I don't know. We covered that.
I don't know that you can do that so much as sometimes you do that.
Yeah,
like, Rachel
right.
cannot intentionally do that.
Sure. Yes, of course. You're right. It's not in your control. And now, who are people allergic to crocodiles?
Well, it's not the crocodile. It's the crocodile DNA.
It is
in her morphing repository. I don't know.
I took it as like if she ate a crocodile sandwich, she'd break out in hives. Like if someone was allergic to cats and morphed into a cat, it would do the same thing.
I always took it as this is a specific thing inherent to the morphing technology where you're morph allergic, but I really do not know.
Yeah,
maybe she's allergic to crocodiles.
That's all they just say, oh, you're allergic to it. They don't like go into detail on what that means.
Yeah, no, that's it. She's just allergic.
I took it as like some people are allergic to pineapple, some people are allergic to crocodile. I don't know. Kind of strange if that's the case, but yours kind of, well, yours, I don't know if it makes more sense.
It doesn't, it's not, she had a fun idea. Remember last book, she said she was running out of ideas. So she had an idea here. What if you were allergic to a morph? And she wrote it.
Which is, I do think that's a fun idea for a book. Maybe it doesn't make that much sense, but it creates for some interesting and unpredictable situations that. Mm-hmm. So, I'm nitpicking, but I do like it.
Yeah, and there's always a balance here. I guess this is more of like a post-book discussion, but we can have it here, I guess, which is there's always a balance between when you have these fun ideas like this, they're not necessarily moving the overall plot of the book forward. But, like, if every book did that, then you wouldn't have time to do this kind of, like, oh, I got a fun idea. And so there's always a balance with them where you're kind of like, okay, get to the next, like, cool thing that moves the world forward. But also, like, oh, I want to read the book where the stupid thing happens. And I think this book is, for me, as far as those go, it's somewhere in the middle, It's certainly not the best dumb book, but I don't, like, hate it either.
Yeah, I think that the allergy gimmick is fun enough, and the sharing talk show thing makes sense. Like I could see that being a thing that happens. It's the classic. There's an art to the monster of the week format,
yeah.
And maybe the weakness you could argue about some of these Animorphs monster of the week type books. Is to me the best example. I mean, it's Buffy the Vampire Slayer is kind of the classic, the epitome of doing that right. When usually you have a thing that happens in an episode, the monster or whatever is not super important. It's just like a fun sci-fi concept that'll happen that week. But what does happen in the background is the characters will develop, or their relationships will change as a result of what's going on. And I don't know if maybe, like in this book, I guess Rachel's thing is trying to come to terms with her emotions, but she's not like really making that much progress on that front, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, that is, I think, why this book is sort of, like, middling for me, is that, like, it's a fun concept, but if you were to skip this book, you would lose absolutely nothing other than you wouldn't get to see the allergic crocodile book, and you wouldn't get to see the nicest neat joke, and you wouldn't
Yeah.
get to see the bare feet.
Right. All those things, but yeah, I guess for me, it's similar to the last book too. You know, the gimmick was good enough that I haven't felt it doesn't feel totally like filler to me,
Hmm.
in the way that the skunk book kind of did.
Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting because the skunk book feels less like filler to me because of all of Cassie's musings, right? To me, it kind of felt like these musings are important to Cassie's character arc on like a grand scheme,
Hmm.
like a long-term scheme. And so that's I think why it feels better, even though none of the actual events in it are anything.
I think that's the difference. Is I'm just distracted by how much fun the the one-off stuff is, whereas in that one it was just so not fun that I didn't care
That's
whether it was
fair.
being
That's
developed.
totally reasonable. And also like when I talk about like this is important to a character arc that's going to stretch for 50 books and you're only seeing the first piece of it, like you might have a different opinion on it reflecting from the end
Mm.
because you're reading it like in context of like where are we going with all of this. Or you might not. You might be all like they could have put that in with something that kept me entertained.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hard to say.
Interesting stuff. I've got a small
Hard.
bone to pick with Cassie here too, but I think it comes in the
Uh-huh.
next scene.
Okay. Should we I mean the next scene
The next scene.
the next scene as I'm just gonna run through a whole bunch of stuff real quick. I guess I'll just run through all of it and you can talk about your Cassie bone.
Sure.
Um, so Rachel just kind of lies and says, "Oh yeah, I did that Harith Illant thing. I burped up the croc. It's all good." And Cassie and Jake believe her for some reason. I don't. So they're like, "All right, well we'll just do the plan." And Rachel's like, "It's cool. It's cool. I'll just control my emotions. Don't even worry about it." Again, Rachel, just like Rachel, please. um, but she gets to the talk show thing. She's backstage with the hairdresser Ty, and Ty is acting like an asshat about her hair, and she pisses Rachel off, and Rachel's hair turns into wolf hair, and yeah, so now Cassie, who is there for emotional support, like distracts Ty, but then now she's pissed off, and she's like, Rachel, how come you da 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 da? Um, Jeremy Jason shows up, and Rachel and Cassie are like fangirling over him, and he's a dick to them and kicks them out, blah, blah, blah. They run into Marco, who has morphed into a llama. They got their wild animal guy there who's got all his animals, and Marco found one of his animals and morphed this llama. Uh, and Cassie tells him about Rachel, and Cassie also acquires Rachel in case they need a double if Rachel starts going crazy. And so all this kind of like pre-show stuff is happening backstage, all these different like really small scenes, and they're waiting for the show to start. And then Rachel starts feeling sick. So let's
Uh-oh.
talk about So let's talk about all the junk that's just happening backstage here.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Fun
Yeah.
stuff. We get to be on the set of a real live TV show.
Right.
Cassie indicates her discomfort with the idea of these animals being forced into a studio and put on TV against their will, right?
Yes.
She says, I hate seeing wild animals dragged into studios and treated like, and then she gets cut off. But Cassie's fine with zoos, though?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the zoos don't make them perform.
They just go in front of, they perform? They're just like going on camera.
Well, in the
wrong?
zoos, they get there in a, I don't know. They're really, it's a really nice zoo. Cassie hates the like shitty zoos where they're in tiny little enclosures, but these are really good enclosures, you see.
I guess it seems
Like her mom does really good.
it seems
with
inconsistent to me. And on that note, now Marco, as a Letterman fan, he doesn't bring it up, but I feel that he should know, as I do. Now, I guess maybe to be fair, I don't really know because this is not a late night show. This is a Regis and Kathy Lee. This is like a morning show.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have as much familiarity with those. But if we're talking Conan or Letterman, the animal people are always the last guest. In this,
Well,
they
they're the
go on
first
first.
guest this time.
That's
Yeah.
that's crazy. You don't headline with the animals. You headline with
Yeah.
the interviews, and then they're your filler at the end. Your bonus people.
Yeah.
That didn't make sense to me.
And who wants to follow a cute animal,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, it's well,
Yeah.
and once the animals are loose, it's usually silly and fun. There's like a snake
Yeah.
on the ground, and you can't put that back in the bottle. Like the energy is different now. That's
Yeah.
that's
Makes sense.
these people just don't know what they're doing in terms of television scheduling.
This is what I needed you for. This section right here is where I figured you would really be bringing a lot to the table
Okay,
for
yeah,
me.
okay. Well, I'm glad
Yeah.
I could make that
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah. Marco is obsessed with how cute of a llama he is, and I bet he is. He's got his cute little llama smile. I like when he goes out on stage, he's like narrating in private thought speak to like Rachel and Cassie, I guess. He's talking as though he's like, "Hey, everybody, it's great to be out here as a talking llama or whatever." He's role playing like he's having a great time. This is what he wants to be on talk shows. That's his like dream.
Yeah, I do love this. I'm pretty surprised there wasn't a part where Marco like spits on somebody or something as a llama.
Mm.
Like I thought he was gonna do some shenanigans.
He should have spit on someone. Ah, missed opportunity.
But yeah, that was all great. I don't know
Mhm.
what this was when he's about to go on. He says, "I'm going to be on TVE. I'm going to be on TVE," and it's spelled
Mm.
out T-V-E. I like, what is this? Is he singing? Is this a bit, a reference to something? I don't know what that was.
Okay, I saw that and I figured you might know. I was like, that maybe this is like somebody had a weird way of. Maybe somebody said that and it was like an iconic thing and one
May-
of
my,
those old boomer references.
my best guess was that he's just like, he's excited. He's like, "I'm gonna be on TVE," like just doing a little like fun.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, I didn't know. Also again, when these animal people go on these shows, it's usually like a turtle, maybe a monkey or a sloth, a snake. It's usually handheld stuff. This guy's going on with a baby elephant and a golden eagle. Well, I guess sometimes they could have a bird like a falcon or something maybe, but a baby elephant seems like that's kind of, they're still pretty big.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, baby elephant should not be going on talk shows. It's a good thing Tobias wasn't here. He'd have some words to say about that golden eagle.
That is, I was gonna say also this whole, including the ending scene which we haven't described yet. All of this feels like the opening scene of another book.
It does. It does. Because, like, we don't. Like, Rachel and Cassie and Marco technically are all here. But yeah, Jake isn't really here. Axe is. I mean, Jake and Axe, I guess, are here as, like, bugs, but they're not really that involved. Tobias isn't really here. It feels very self-contained to Rachel and Cassie doing shenanigans in the studio.
Yeah, and we're thinking about Price Cut Polly. It frequently will involve
Yeah.
some kind of a public place and some weird thing that happens. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And
So-
and this is all.
And then we had like the Visser 3 scene was like in the middle of the book. Just the structure of this one feels kind of off.
It is odd. Yeah.
But yeah.
Do we want to just finish it up here?
Yes, please.
Okay, there's a lot of chapters left, but effectively what it boils down to is chaos ensues. Because Rachel's starting to feel sick, right? She gets really nauseous, a little disoriented. She's feeling like she's simultaneously a crocodile and a human. Like both of those brains are simultaneously controlling her body. And she starts running around and biting people as a human because she thinks she's a crocodile. And Cassie has to run her. Like, she bites Jeremy Jason. She bites Marco the llama. Cassie has to rush her to the bathroom as a crocodile starts growing out of Rachel's back. And meanwhile, Rachel is uncontrollably, rapidly morphing to bear. And they actually talk about her having, like, multiple heads. Like, she's a bear-crocodile hybrid thing. Some kind of weird Sam Raimi fucked up. Anyway, Cassie hides in this bathroom. Yeah, they're in the bathroom. Cassie hides in the stall and morphs squirrel, hoping to avoid all of this. And the crocodile pops out, and so now there's a crocodile versus a bear, and they fight. So Rachel is fighting the crocodile that just popped out of her, and they're like rampaging through the studio, and they go out live on stage. So like in the middle of the show, there's the crocodile and bear just barge in and start fighting on stage. The crocodile is about to eat Jeremy Jason live on stage, and his yerk bails out. Like he's got a yerk in him, and the yerk bails out when he thinks he's going to get eaten by the crocodile. Uh, and in the middle of all of this chaos battle, Cassie cuts the lights, and Axe shows up and cuts the crocodile up with his tail. Um, and they all get out of there. And we get like a little scene where Cassie is playing Rachel to throw off some controller suspicion, because the controller's like, I guess we killed the crocodile, but you're still here, huh? And, and Rachel steps on the yerk. So the yerk is dead, and Rachel's not suspicion anymore. And then we find out at the very end that Jeremy Jason has quit show business and moved to Uzbekistan because this was all too scary and fucked up and weird, and he doesn't want anything to do with it. And that's the end. The end of the book. They did it. They stopped him from recruiting the teenage girls, and Rachel expelled her crocodile.
She sure did.
So it's crazy. It is so hard to follow all the shit that happens here.
I can't say that after reading this, I really have much of an idea of how Harith Illant works. I don't know that I get
the
it.
Croc.
And
she burped it. It came out of her back. Now it's here.
This was what I was talking about that was, I think, more disturbing than the other part of the book. You referenced Sam Raimi. My thought was Junji Ito. This is like...
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking that because I just watched all the Evil Dead movies for the new ones. So I was like, some kind of weird conglomerate monster thing. And to be fair, those are all people. They're not animals, but...
Yeah, right. Yeah, this is like if this were visualized, it would be really fucked up.
Yes.
To see. And also, I'm sorry, but I gotta harp on Cassie a little bit more here. I'm sorry, Cass. Sorry, Cass, but I gotta do it to you. Sometimes I gotta take you down a peg. But of all the things Cassie does object to, she doesn't seem to voice a concern about literally birthing an innocent crocodile and then immediately killing it.
Yeah, it is odd that just isn't a thing that she thinks about. Well, the crocs are evil. All they want to do is eat, you see.
Crocs are the taxons of our society, of the animal kingdom.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I mean, there wasn't time for it, really. It's like the book had to end. So if it was a Cassie book, then that would be different. It really does become almost, in addition to it being horrifying, it's also like a comedy of errors.
Yeah.
It very much has the energy of like a Pink Panther or something or like a classic misunderstandings of, I went down one door, I'm trying to get in the bathroom, who's in there? Like, oops, nobody's in here, and there's like a crocodile on the other side. Like it's very silly. It's a big mishmash of tones. It kind of worked for me, but it's weird.
Yeah, and it is, I mean, it's also a whole thing where, like, at no point do they ever have any plan toward this overarching plot with Jeremy Jason, right? Like after his yerk bails and he doesn't get eaten by the crocodile, like, if he hadn't moved to Uzbekistan of his own free will, right? Like, because that's not a logical response, right? Attacked by a crocodile on stage, and so I guess I'm just like, screw it. Like, what if he had just gone back and been like, okay, you guys, you yerks, now I really need your help, right? I'm not going to be getting attacked by crocodiles on stage. I need someone to protect me. No, he moved to Uzbekistan.
Where conveniently no yerks live.
Yeah, there's no yerks. They aren't worried about Uzbekistan because it's not geopolitically important.
Right. Yeah, they don't really. So now at one point, there's one point where I was kind of confused. Rachel says she notices Axe just emerges, but he comes on, so he's not in range of the cameras, but he's in Andalite form. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly when this happens, but I was really confused. And for a second, my theory was, or my assumption was, I thought it was going to be revealed that Jake and Axe and some others maybe had a plan, and they like Axe morphed what's his name, Jeremy, and he was going to go on the show or something, and they had kidnapped him. Like, I thought the lesson was going to be that Rachel did all this reckless shit, and they were like, and then they would be like, Rachel, we had a plan, and if you hadn't come on, you fucked it all up, and we would have taken care of everything.
That's a really good story. You should have written these books.
kind of a Poe Holdo thing from Last Jedi.
Yeah. Yeah. Great movie.
Yeah, great movie. Yes. So I just want to people that could be taken like it was ironic, and it wasn't.
It wasn't. I just wanted to make sure people knew what our stance was on this. It's very important. If you disagree with the stance, you need to stop listening right now.
Yes. Okay. Now we can move on. So, but yeah, that none of that happened. They're just like they're completely just they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Nobody ever has an idea what they're doing. But
yeah, just total. Yeah, absolutely.
I was really hoping. Go ahead.
Speaking of plots, no, I was thinking, isn't it kind of odd? Cassie kills the lights so that Axe can sort of chop up this croc in secret. Why doesn't Axe just walk on stage as an Andalite, like in front of the cameras, and be like, "Hey, guess what? Earth's population, I'm an alien, and you're being invaded by other evil bad aliens."
That's not a bad question.
like they were gonna land the thing on the White House lawn one book ago. This is not that different.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I don't know. I don't know. I do not know. I guess they like I don't know. I really don't. They could just go to go take a tour of the White if you're worried about cameras or something. Just go to the White House and just be an Andalite.
Yeah, I mean they have an Andalite.
Yeah.
I don't.
And any argument you could make against doing that, you could also make against the White House spaceship plan. So,
yeah, like I get the argument for not going to anyone in particular because, that particular person could be a Yurkin if you exposed it. But if you did it in front of like live cameras broadcasting all across the country, like that was the point of the White House lawn, is that like people would see it. It doesn't matter who in the government's a controller, right? Everyone will now know. Everyone's gonna, I don't know.
Yeah, missed opportunity. To me, though, the biggest missed opportunity of this book, when Rachel or Cassie came out of the bathroom after a horrible, fucked up morphing experience. Yeah, well,
yeah.
I just thought maybe she could have
what
said.
Might they do?
She could have said to the woman who was trying to get in there. She could have said, "Do not go in there." Woo! That could have been funny.
She sure could have. That would have been very funny. They sort of do that where Cass is like, she's like, "I need a bathroom." Cass is like, "You don't want to come in here. Trust me."
Yeah.
They could have, if they'd gone just a little farther.
Yeah. So, weird book.
Marco would have done it.
Marco definitely would have done it.
Yeah. Weird book. I need you to sing a song for me. Because
I don't know it.
Oh, in the end scene when they're finding out about Jeremy Jason, Marco is singing along with, I guess, the Entertainment Tonight theme, and he's got his own lyrics that he's making up, and I was hoping you would be able to sing along with the Entertainment Tonight theme.
I thought about maybe looking up the song, but I didn't. So I don't know. I've never watched Entertainment Tonight. I don't know how it goes.
That is too bad. Well, I'll give the listeners the lyrics, so if they want to record themselves singing along to it and send something in to us, then we could play it on the next podcast, and the whole world could hear. But he says, Entertainment tonight, we're so glib and so light. Entertainment tonight, we've got stars, all right. We'll entertain you and drain you of all your thoughts tonight. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So Marco has just invented his own lyrics for the theme song that he likes.
Yes, he has done that. I know somebody else who does that.
That Star Trek guy?
It's you, silly.
Ah!
Ah!
Yeah. I used to do raps to the Mad Men theme song.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah, every episode starts with like a cool beat, and you'd rap a little bit about Don Draper. I won't do it now.
Think for a second there. Yeah. Okay. We won't do it now.
Yeah.
Oh, and one other thing here. The controller who is... I loved this joke. The controller who is suspicious of Rachel when Cassie is in Rachel morph. He tries to get her by calling out. He goes, "And a light." And Cassie goes, "Yeah, and the light would be good too." Because all the lights are out.
That was a good joke.
I really liked that.
That was also a weird part when that guy was just like, "I think maybe you're an Andalite," but I don't know. It was a little weird how he was suspicious, but I don't know. It just seemed there was something about the way he was going about it that felt like, I don't know, unrealistic to me.
Could be. I mean, I was just thinking, like, there's obviously Andalites there because there's chaos with the animals, and Rachel was being weird and having trouble. So, like, maybe he saw something and thought she was morphing.
Yeah, and I guess the question is, how many more incidents does it take with what Rachel's involved in publicly before someone's puts two and two together?
Hopefully there won't be any more. Hopefully it's just these three. All in the same, 2 days.
Well, we can also count. I feel like she must have been on the news, during the Valik incident, wasn't she? Or maybe not.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if anyone knew who she was, though. But yeah, she definitely was on the news. Right. If you saw her.
Yeah. But
I don't know.
Anyway. Yeah.
What a book.
Weird book. Pop culture references.
Yeah.
Here we go. Once again, I don't remember if we count these or not. The sharing is like some kind of Boy Scouts.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Rachel, of course, is the person Marco calls Xena Warrior Princess.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to say it now. Xena comes up a few times later, including at the end of the book when they actually watch Xena.
Oh, yes. I forgot to mention the ending scene is they're watching Xena. Yeah.
So, pretty cool. She mentions they once took a field trip to a factory that made bread and Twinkies. Both bread and Twinkies come from this factory. Nothing else, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a Hostess factory. They just make regular bread, and they also make Twinkies.
Right. Okay. Well, they have a different factory for all their other products.
At the zoo, Rachel is sipping a Mountain Dew through a straw. She also almost shoots it at her nose at one point.
Gamer girl.
Definitely a gamer girl. I bet she likes Doritos. As we mentioned, all the Fudgies and Snoop Diggity Dog. They also call Rachel the offspring of Xena Warrior Princess and Superman.
Mm-hmm.
To which Axe is like, they have a kid?
I thought Tobias said that.
Oh, is it Tobias? Yeah, maybe I just saw the brackets and assumed Axe. I don't know. I don't remember. I didn't write it down. Somebody says bravery is a great virtue, and someone else says, "Thank you, Obi-Wan Kenobi, for that wisdom." Again.
Yeah. Well, he's a wise character from Star Wars.
Just
so
not
say.
Really a thing.
Yeah.
If anything, maybe Yoda would fit better there, but
maybe, but I feel like you would only call out Yoda if someone said something weird.
Right.
In a weird way.
It should be like, "Thank you, Confucius," or something. I don't see why Star Wars is coming into that one. They specifically mention, or somebody says that they have the new Nintendo game.
Yeah.
And they say, the one where, and then they get cut off.
Marco doesn't want to do the mission, so he's like, "Oh, I got a new Nintendo game."
So, GoldenEye came out in 1997.
Ah, okay.
So did Star Fox 64 and Diddy Kong Racing. So I don't know how literal Marco's being. He probably just means the new Nintendo 64 game. Pretty weird, of course, to say that new Nintendo game.
It is pretty weird. Also weird to describe a game, especially a Nintendo game, as the one where.
Right, yes. What was the next part of it? You know, the one where you're James Bond from GoldenEye?
Yeah.
Like
the one where there's a bunch of Kongs.
Yeah, this is the one with Star Fox. Like you would just say the title of the game.
Anyway. The one where there's like that plumber guy, you know that one, right?
Yeah, you're always jumping on stuff. He goes, "Mamma Mia."
Yeah.
But anyway, more references to teen magazines, Teen, YM, and 17. The female cast of Baywatch, Yasmin
Wait,
Bleeth. What did I skip? Oh, sorry,
I skipped all the sports guys.
I did right. That was my bad right just now. Yes, they do say they're talking about Jeremy Jason McCall, and they say he's not. It's not like he's Michael Jordan or Brett. What is it? Brett Favre? Do you say the?
I was never a sports guy. I always said Favre, but I don't know if that's actually not how it's spelled here. I don't know.
I don't fucking know either. Or Wayne Gretzky.
I'm a little nerd. Somebody tell me. Yeah, Wayne Gretzky.
Unfortunately, so am I. So we can't help each other on this one.
Yeah.
But it does really go to show you, it was the 90s sports. Those were the guys.
Sure was.
Yeah, Yasmin Bleeth makes sense now. I could figure out who she was. This was news to me that sheetrock is capitalized. That is a trademarked brand.
Oh, what is that? Oh, like just sheetrock.
Sheetrock is a specific manufacturer's brand.
Huh.
It's not.
This is our new dumpster.
It's the new dumpster, yes. Although at least I think that one is still a brand as opposed to a dumpster. Which, by the way, there are at least 2 capitalized dumpsters in this book. So
sure are.
This one I wasn't sure about. She says she says it was total ER for a while.
Yeah, that's got to be a reference to ER.
I think I was actually confused for a minute because when she first got to the hotel, I thought she was in the hospital. I think because she says that. I wasn't sure, like, is she just saying it was like crazy, like things went nuts? Or is she saying, oh yeah, it was like an episode of ER? I'm not sure. In theory, she should have gone to the hospital at least for a checkover, right? She was in a house collapse. Yeah, I honestly thought she was in the hospital until it mentioned her having to pay a tip for the room service.
Yeah, I think I got a little confused there too. I got a little out of place.
Yeah, so that was kind of weird. Rachel's dad is like one of those 60 Minutes guys. She's using pay-per-view in the hotel, of course. They reference Crocodile. I think they call Rachel Crocodile Dundee at school. It's funny.
Yeah, yep, they sure do. It's always funny when someone references Crocodile Dundee.
I like it. There's McDonald's bags littered on the ground. They reference seagulls as being into eating Burger King Whoppers, right? Is that the seagull part?
Yeah, yeah.
Marco tells Tobias his eyes are good, but he's not Superman. There's an extended conversation about Brad Pitt and his full lips.
Yes, there is.
And how full those lips are and how hot he is, and
the ladies love those full lips, and Jake's all like, oh, I bet they did that procedure where they inject butt fat into his lips, or I don't know.
That's what he says.
Yeah.
That's what he says.
Yeah. Now, I was glancing over Seropedia because I didn't know this, but Marco makes a joke about Brad Pitt in That Montana Movie. And it says on Seropedia that Marco is referring to the 1994 film Legends of the Fall.
Oh, I glossed over that completely. I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah, I didn't know what that meant either, but
haven't seen it.
Saw it on Seropedia. I believe it.
Okay. All right. Good to know. There's a movie producer on that boat that Rachel had seen on CNN. So there's CNN as your reference there. The Oh What Fun It Is to Morph song we already talked about. This is another borderline one, but I think it counts. I think it's Marco says, and another mouse bites the dust. Now that could just be the phrase, but maybe he's doing a Queen reference.
I think he's doing a Queen reference. Marco's a reference guy.
Yeah, he is. He refers to Rachel's intense, uncontrollable tiger beat passion.
Hmm. I quickly Googled Tiger Beat because I was like, this is something, but I don't remember
Oh,
it.
I knew that one. That's a magazine,
I did
right?
not know that one. Yeah, yeah. One of
Yeah.
those teen mags.
Teen Mags. When they're in the dressing room, Cassie distracts the hairdresser by shouting, "Look in the hallway, it's Kevin Costner and Tom Cruise too."
Yeah.
Really
Ty
goes to
the
show
hairdresser.
you how the cultural cachet Kevin Costner had in the 90s compared to now. I don't think anyone's turning their head for Kevin Costner. It's like,
It's
huh?
true.
Kevin Costner? Who gives a shit? I don't care.
Yeah. Meanwhile, when you got movies like Tom Cruise in them,
Exactly.
lose.
You still cannot lose to this day.
still to this day.
To this day, Kevin Costner doesn't have a fucking movie that's coming out this summer that's going to be in the top 10 box office.
No, he doesn't.
No. Rachel says she felt like the Hunchback of Notre Dame when she's got a croc coming out of her back.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Entertainment Tonight theme song was the last one I had.
Yeah, I think they also referenced Entertainment Tonight earlier too, but
Probably.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
look at us coming in a little early for us these days.
yeah. Now, I actually, because I want to make sure, this is just for a future thing. This is not right now because I want to make sure these episodes are long enough.
Okay. Good call.
I was wondering, we've got this whole thing where we go over our references at the end so that we can sort of culturally place ourselves. I was wondering if we didn't want to add a section where we do our favorite Marco jokes from the book going forward. Because I feel like there's always good Marco jokes peppered in, and it always, they're not necessarily on theme to what's going on. So it's kind of like, oh, I got to come out for a second to just Marco told a funny joke here. And maybe we could take turns telling some of our favorites at the end of every episode.
I mean, I would pitch that maybe we limit ourselves to just one favorite Marco joke.
Well, but sometimes there might be a lot of Marco jokes.
Yeah, sometimes there might be.
Oh, listen, we could list some out, and we'll each say one, and then if we have more.
Okay, well, how about in a Marco book?
Right, that we need spend a lot of time on that.
Yeah. There were a couple good Rachel zingers. She usually gets a couple good zings in on Marco. So
yeah, they give her some good zings. She's a zinger.
Yeah, but yeah, okay. We'll try that tradition for next week, and we'll see how it goes.
Okay, I wasn't sure on this. It was just a thought I had.
I'm willing to go along with anything you say.
That's a bad idea.
You're right. Well, if our listeners want us to go along with anything that they say, they can email us at theyerkyboys@gmail.com. You can send in your questions, your thoughts, your comments, your reactions to our thoughts, your disagreements, or your voice clips of you singing along to the Entertainment Tonight theme song.
Mm-hmm. Please.
And you can also follow us on Twitter, where we are at @theyerkyboys for, little updates to make sure you don't miss a new episode and maybe some other fun tweets as well.
Could be.
Tweets, twerts, everything in between.
Check them out. It's going off because of you.
If you want to find more of my stuff on the internet, this week I'm going to plug my work over at gonintendo.com. Speaking of Nintendo games.
Wow.
If you're sort of a Marco type and you like to play Nintendo games, you might like to read some of my writings over there. By the time you're listening to this, there should be my review of the new Advance Wars game on the Nintendo Switch.
Wow.
You can go read that. You can look for that and find it. So that's where you can find me.
Yeah. And you can find me on Twitter, I guess, at DogTimesMcGee, as long as Twitter is still around.
Yeah, let's hope it. May it stay in our hearts forever and always.
Well, I don't know about all that.
May Elon guide us into a new era of peace and prosperity.
It's a new era, all right. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Tune in next time when we'll be discussing Book 13, The Change in Which Tobias Turns into a Boy, on The Yerky Boys.